My P family, it's your boy L APA coming through with another video. You guys already know what it is. Appreciate you guys tapping into the channel. Hit those likes to subscribe, man, and help this channel. If you guys like the channel, go ahead, help me out with that. And as you can tell by the good old caption, that uña, that thumbnail, man, new Corcoran, Sur versus Norte, riot. And, you know, for those of you that heard the story before, I want to reiterate the story because from time to time, I like reminding people like the severity of some of the things that happen in there. And especially, like I said, for the youngsters. I'm here for the youngsters, try to remind them from time to time because, the videos get lost in the shuffle. And it's good from time to time, as far as I'm concerned, to remind people and the reoffenders as well. Now, CDCR nowadays is at peace. Norteños could sell up with Sureños. They could do business with blacks. They could play basketball with Asians, others, and everything. Some of the things that I never experienced in the prison system, and I was on the yard with the Mexican mafia members as well, and the SHU as well. The ones that are still active, some of which are already passed away. A few of them already passed away that I was on the yard with. A lot of them are still living, of course. So, yeah, man, it's crazy to see how much the prison system has changed. As far as I'm concerned, in a positive way, you would think, right? But I feel like that just opened up the door for them to concentrate their nefarious business, and as a result, there's a lot more murders, unfortunately. So that's a story for another time. Let's get on with this one. So I'm gonna take you back to New Corcoran, SATF, 2009. 2009, I got there. I came from Centinela State Prison, CR, the 270, the level 4 there. I got kicked out after doing a 15-month SHU from C6 back to the yard, and I was pending transfer. I got kicked out. My murder was up. I got kicked out to C yard, pending transfer, and I don't even remember. Like, I think SATF was like the first thing that they put me. They didn't ask me where I wanted to go, but I think they told me SATF, and I think Salinas Valley was like the two places that where I could potentially go. And sure enough, maybe about my celly was from Verdugo Flats. Papa's from Verdugo Flats. Shout out to that cat. He laced me up a little bit about New Corcoran. He had already told me, I got the CSR. I got not the endorsement. Actually, yeah, it was endorsement. CSR endorsed me to SATF. I got the paper, placas where the COs were passing out the mail. Slid a thing on the side of the door. I looked at it. It says SATF. And he was all set up. Oh, yeah. He had just came from there. And the number one thing he told me was, man, they've been programming for a few years. So be on your toes when you get there. I mean, you always got to be on your toes when it came to the Norteños. You know what I'm saying? Like, because them cats, with the business. They're with the business. They're structured. They're with the business. They'll split your wig just like we will split their wig. No, do not underestimate him type stuff and everything like that. So he's like, I came down. I've been down here a few years. They're still programming. He's like, it's about that time. So pretty much when I get there, don't be surprised if it kicks off soon thereafter. So he told me that. I had that in mind. Caught the chain to SATF, to New Corcoran, and Kings County right there. I get there, get off the bus, whatnot. My first time on a 180. And, when you see those concrete walls, it's completely different from a 270, level 3, whatnot, let alone a level 2 or level 1, right? Which I've never been to. But, you see it, and you see the big old concrete walls. Then you see the big old concrete wall that separates the upper and the lower yard. And it's just like, damn, damn, this is a concrete jungle. So I get there, man. They put me in the BMU program in A block, behavior modification unit. After I get done with that, they put me back in the orientation building, and then eventually I make it down to 4 block. When I make it down to 4 block, we first of all, when I got to 8 block, I had one of my homeboys from my neighborhood from Logan, Santana, and he was trying to keep me there, but unfortunately, there was no space at the time since the BMU took up all of A section and half of B section from time to time. It would fluctuate depending on the room that they needed for BMU. So since then, the BMU program got 602 and everything, and it was deemed double jeopardy, which it was. How the hell am I gonna do a 15-month shoe? So I digress. BMU program, behavior modification unit. Anybody that got finished doing a shoe term got put straight into the BMU when you go to 180 or back out to 180. And eventually they ended up 602 in it, appealing it, because it's like, how are you going to do your shoe term? Pretty much you pay your debt to society behind the prison walls. It's like going to jail. It's being in jail in prison, behind jail. And yeah, man, sure enough, they 602'd it, they appealed it, and they ended up winning. Not before I did my BMU term, And yeah, it was double jeopardy. It was deemed double jeopardy, which it was. And yeah, so there was no regular cells there, whatnot. Camello from Santa Anita was my homeboy Sally at the time. And man, whole other story with that cat, with the business. So that's why I couldn't stay. So anywho, I ended up going to 4 block. He's like, hey, bro, there's camaradas, there's the homies from Orange County down there. They're laced up with the homies from LA, from Paramount, things like that. So you should be good over there. There's a good little thing going on over there. So I was like, all right, cool. Say less. And he's like, when the time is right, I'll pull you back over here. Unfortunately, he ended up getting put up for a 270. And so there was no point in him pulling me back over there, since he ended up going to a Corcoran right across the street. All bad. He was going to drop to a 270. A 270 for the dudes that have been on a 180 forever, putting in work, whatnot. A 270 to them is like a level 3. They're never, somebody that has 100, 200 points and up, you're never going to see a level 3. So a 270 is a little more lax. So that's like their level 3, So for those of you that understand what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. So I get to 4 block once again. I landed in A section, and the homie, one cell over the shower, or from a city, and he hit me up. He's like, "What's up, my boy? This and that." Embrace me, all that. And fast forward, he came and asked me for a bottle, and he's like, "Hey, check this out. The camaradas, a couple of older camaradas, just got to C section, and in New Corcoran at the time, the Norteños were there with us. They were in like 2 block, 4 block, 6 block, and 8 block, every other block. And they only had them in C section. We Sureños were in every block and every section, but the Norteños weren't that deep, of course. By tradition, they're not that deep. And they were only in C section. So, case in point, 4 block, they were in C section. So the homie's like, hey, man, you and your celly, my celly was from Florencia at the time. And he's like, look, man, you guys are youngsters. I need you guys, do me a bottle, homie. You don't have to do it. And I really didn't have to do it. But he was trying to get, little did I know what was coming. He told me that he was doing it so I could get my shine on. He's like, look, do me a favor. Go over there. I'm volunteering you. They really got there from doing a 3-year, 4-year shoe term and Corcoran shoe. They got kicked out of Corcoran shoe. They're older homies. Let them chill. Flip over there. You guys are youngsters. It is what it is. Never mind the fact that I had just done a 15-month shoe term, which ain't much, but it's a shoe term. You know what I'm saying? But to me, I'm like, I don't care. I got you. Don't trip. And that's when he seen me tell him that. He's like, and also, look, homie, he didn't even tell me that like right then and there. He told me a day or so later. And he pulls me to the side. He's like, look, bro, what I'm about to tell you before you move over there is completely on the need to know basis. He could have gotten in trouble for telling me this. But, he knew the neighborhood I was from, man. We actually were enemies on the streets. He had heard about me. I'd gotten at it with his homeboys on the streets and everything. But up there, it's not about gangbanging, bro. It's about the cause. But you have that Santana love, Orange County love, things like that. Just like dudes from LA and anywhere else have that type of love. And he's like, I need you to represent type shit. And so he pulled me aside. He's like, hey, look, homie, it's gonna kick off. It's gonna kick off. We're waiting for palabra. It's gonna kick off, and we're gonna get the Norteños. At the time, all that shit that had been happening, they killed the camarada from Pozole, from San Diego, and Kern Valley, and then the Norteños up in Pelican Bay ended up taking off on one of the on the camaradas because there was a Norteño that had a tattoo that it was disrespectful to the Sur. So basically, the camaradas, the Sureños, gave him an ultimatum, which Norteños didn't take like to. And instead of them bringing back word and whatnot, they just rushed. So those two incidents is what culminated into this riot. For those of you guys that remember, this is why it happened. So he was pretty much putting me up on game. Like, look, I'm gonna send you over there with 2 pieces. I already had one of mine. I was like, no, I don't need it. He's like, look, I'm gonna send you this one. If you don't need it, you don't need it. He sent me a beauty off the fan, one of those steel bars off the fan that you're sharpening. So beauty. So I move over there with the knowledge that we're gonna take off on the Norteños. And so I get there, man. They put me in cell 225 right next to the shower. Another next, man, I've had a lot of cells next to the shower. Come to think of it, which sucks, bro. Because anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'll tell you that later. So I get there, man. My cellie doesn't know anything about this. He tells me, like, look, you cannot let your cellie know this. The only people that know is the mesa. Period. But like I said, he was gonna volunteer me to do something. And I was like, I'm all for it, bro. I'm all for it. I raised my hand. Let's get this. So nobody was in the know until the day came. 1 or 2 days before, boom. That's when the bloqueros knew. That's when they weren't bloqueros. They were in the mesa. That's when the section dudes knew. And they came to my cell. And he's like, hey, the homie from Southside Fontana. And he's like, hey, you guys ready? You ready? And this is and that. And my Sally's like, he heard it. He's like, ready for what? I was like, nothing, my boy. Nothing. You're good. There had already been a kite, a mapil, going around saying like, hey, Norteños are acting weird. Nothing major. Just be on your toes. And obviously on the 180, you don't even need that warning. It was just like a general kite that they always pass from time to time. Be on your P's and Q's, be on your toes, be vigilant, be on your toes. They couldn't let anybody else know. Why? Because everybody was strapped up. They had already passed into the kite, which should have been a telling kite. Like, hey, everybody's and a 180, especially New Corcoran back then, it was mandatory to be strapped up. So everything was set in place. Everything was already in place for something like this to occur. And nobody needed to be given a heads up, because the more people that know, the less it's going to be successful, because somebody's going to drop a kite all scared as shit and things like that, and that's just happened before. So, yeah, man, my son is like, what's up? I'm like, no, nothing, bro. Keep in mind, it was about to crack that day. Went out to the day room, and they had told us, as soon as the alarm goes off, you take off on the Norteños. And it's crazy, man, because in the period of like about 3 or 4 days, the Norteños were working out in the day room. It's almost like they felt it, or they knew, or somebody sent warning. Because they went from working out in the day room to not working out at all. They weren't being hostile or nothing like that, but they were just chilling in the day room, chilling. So we were in the day room. In my section, there was 10 Sureños and 2 Paisas. And there was about 12 Norteños in that section. So it was going to be bloody. It was going to be a sick one. So Monday came, when the first day came, boom, we were waiting on the day room. I was in there on the bench, straddling the bench, the homie across from me, right underneath the TV. The homies are playing Pinochle on the table. I'm playing chess, moving chess pieces without playing chess because I don't give a fuck about no chess. I'm just playing the part until I'm ready to hear the alarm. And as soon as the alarm hits, rush and get busy. Day room recall. Boom. Nothing happened that day. Second day, same thing. Waited nervously. Boom. And keep in mind, our tier, top tier, was the ones that were supposed to kick it off at the time in my block. Second day came by. Boom. Nothing. Recall. Like, what the fuck was going on? Man, hell no. The weekend hit. Saturday hit. From Wednesday to Saturday on the third day. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That's what happened. I was A2B. I was supposed to hit that dude Chacho or Chapo something. Norteño that had the block. One of the porters. He had long hair. Him and another porter were out there. I forgot the other dude's name. And me and the homie from Southgate were supposed to hit that dude. You know, that was my mission. While everybody was getting the money, I was to concentrate on this cat and try to take his life. And my ass was neck shots. That's what I was going for. Eye shots and neck shots, or the heart if I could get it. Unfortunately, at the time, fully active. So Saturday comes, A2B. For those of you that don't know what that means, is if you're A1A, that means you go to school, you have an assignment. You could go out to the day room or the yard on the weekends. During the week, everybody could go out. During the weekends, only A1As. That's a job. It's an assignment, classification assignment. A2Bs cannot go out on the weekends. They have to stay in the cell. So kind of A1As is like a privilege, you know, because they go to school throughout the week. So they miss yard, they miss day room. So the weekends is where they give them a chance to make up for day room and yard because they missed it through the week because they're in school or at work. So, yeah, I came, the porter, homie from Demon for Southside Santana, Southside Fontana, my bad. For my comes up to the cell and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm A2B. What's up? What's gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? I told him I'm gonna sneak out. The tower was hunt, and that's what was on it. But I'm like, I don't give a fuck, bro. I try to sneak out. He's like, nah, Charles, check this out. And he like kind of like pointed toward my celly with his eyes, like lace him up. Basically, he just inherited my celly from Florencia. And keep in mind, like I said, man, he didn't know any of this. And you know, we're cellies, man. He's cool as shit and everything. Grumpy little fucker, but I liked him. So I was like, oh shit. I was like, cool, whatever. You know, like I'll lace him up. I was a little disappointed. You know what I'm saying? I was a little disappointed, but after the fact, I was a little relieved because, you know, you build up. I just wanted to get it over with, you know, get some stripes and whatnot and shine. So I sit him down, man. I go back. He heard too. He's like, what's going on? I was like, look, I'm gonna sit down real quick. He sits down. He probably thinks he's in trouble or some shit's going on, whatever. I sit him down like, look, homie. I pull out the fierro. Boom. Look, this is all you now. This is your assignment. I told him who we needed to get. It's about to kick off and everything. He turned pale. He turned pale, man. He's looking at me like, shit. You know, real quiet, turned pale. Was like, oh shit. You know, I could tell his adrenaline started kicking in. I dropped this on him legitimately about 20 minutes before. So look, the crazy part is that in our block, everybody on the yard, they let out, what did they, okay, so they let out the top tier, right? They let out the top tier. In our block, they let out the bottom tier. So it was supposed to happen then in the morning. It didn't happen. So when they did the afternoon day room, they let out all the bottom tier, but in our block, they let out the top tier, which is crazy. And so it was our turn. They're about to recall the day room. The yard didn't go down. The camaradas like, it's going to happen, this day room. And that's why I told him, I'm going to sneak out. And so, yeah, I sat him down. And I told him, like, look, homie, right now when you go out to the fucking day room, it's going to crack. It's going to crack. This is your assignment. This is you're going to kill. You know, try your hardest to kill him, whatnot. That's what it is. And unfortunately, man, for the Norteños, to this day, I don't know. I don't know if the señores or the meseros uh, did it on purpose. At the time, Turi from Cuca and Güero Verde, Güero from Verdugo, had Corcoran, and I didn't know if it did this on purpose or not. But in my block, the Norteños, all of them were they didn't have assignments, so there wasn't going to be that many of them coming out. Unfortunately, actually, there was only 2 Norteños that went out. And that's crazy because everybody in the top tier, all the homies had assignments. So basically, it was about eight Sureños and 2 Paisas on 2 Norteños, bro. Unfortunately, And it was crazy to me because even though at the time I'm like, yeah, get those dudes. But I was just like, damn. In hindsight, I'm like, fuck, that's fucked up. Like, so they kicked it off on the yard. That's the alarm that we were supposed to be waiting for. And in this case, my celly went out. They were in the day room. Everybody was in the. I was looking for myself through my window and down to the day room. The camaradas were there, and they were just waiting. They were waiting, and when the yard went down, boom. Get down. Boom, 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 boom. It kicked off sick. Kicked off on the upper yard. The yard crew was rushing the Norteños. The lower yard, the homies were rushing the Norteños. Every single block that it kicked off in, it kicked off like that, And I remember seeing the dude that I was supposed to get, him and his homeboy, him and his northerner homeboy, they fled underneath the stairs, and they were underneath the stairs, just like getting rushed on, but trying to stab. The homies are on them, boom, 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 trying to stab this dude from side to side. But this was like blocking, boom, trying to stab. And I could remember seeing his hair just go all over the place. I was just like, damn. But at the time, like I said, man, I was like, get that dude, get him. I feel bad now, but I'm just saying at the time, that's how I felt. And man, they put a bunch of holes in each one of them, man. Each one of them, they had Norteños on the bottom tier, so they slid fierros to them. So they were able to have a fierro. I honestly believe, I know that the reason that neither one of them got killed, in my section at least, is because there were so many dudes trying to get. It was like 4 and 4, 5 and 5. You know what I'm saying? Like 5 on 5. Like on each one, 5 on each one, 5 on each one. There were so many dudes trying to get in their licks and everything. They ended up kicking each other, getting in the way of each other and things like that. And hey, thankfully, in hindsight, that got in the way and it helped them. The tower hunt, for all he was talking about he'll blast somebody, he didn't blast nobody. He was blasting off the Bertha with rubber pellets and rubber rounds. I don't think they had wooden rounds back then. I mean, at that time anymore. But yeah, man, eventually, and this crazy part is it kicked off everywhere. I remember seeing the cops coming from the rotunda. Boom, they looked into the section and they were just standing there. One of them ran off and they were just getting these dudes for a minute, man. They were getting them. And then eventually a bunch of cops went into the section. Everybody proned out, whatnot, sprayed, all that shit. Right when he grabbed the Mini 14, about to smoke somebody. And yeah, they pulled these dudes out. They pulled them dudes out, leaking. You could see they had white shirts. Obviously your porter, you wear a white shirt, whatnot, or a tank top, but they had a white shirt. And you could see all the puncture wounds in the shirt. The shirt some of the shirts was ripped open because of all the commotion, the fight, and everything like that. And yeah, man, that's what happened. And I ended up staying there. And I went on to do a 2.5-year lockdown from there. And when I went down to Pleasant Valley. But yeah, man, that's just crazy, man. Like I said, youngsters out there and everything like that. These are the type of stories, man. Imagine having to do something like this. Imagine being caught up in a situation where it's 2 of you and 10 dudes, 5 on each, give or take, and you have to survive that. Real killers, dudes are trying to get you, and the only reason you survive is because they got in each other's way, you know, by the grace of God, right? You know, a party. There was and all the other blocks that it kicked off, the blacks ended up helping the Norteños and one of the situations, and that's a story for another time. And that's just what it was. With that being said, thank you guys for listening to the story. Appreciate you guys. Like I said, I wanted to retell the story and things like that with new insight and things like that, and the benefit of hindsight. That being said, you guys have a good one. Hit the like, hit the subscribe if you like it. See you on the next one.